Hey everybody, welcome back to HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com and here on my YouTube channel. And this time out, I'm going to give you a little tip and show you a way to get your mix to sound like it's got a little bit more size, a little bit more width, a little bit more depth without making it sound washy. And you're not using reverb in a way where you make things sound like it's overly washy, where it sounds more organic and more natural. And we're going to do that featuring the Sunset Sound room emulation plugin or studio emulation plugin by IK Multimedia. I love this plugin. I've used it many times in lots of mixes. I've done a separate YouTube video on it where we went through all the different controls on it, but now I'm going to show you how to use it in a practical way. So before we get to that, if you like what you see in this video, please hit that subscribe button. Also go out to HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com and get your free mixing course. It's right on the homepage. It's worth $100. It's my gift to you just for visiting HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'm going to give you something else at no cost to you. So stick around and watch. So here we are in Studio One, and here is the Sunset Sound by IK Multimedia. Love this thing. Great plugin. Prior to what this is, if you don't know, this is a studio or room emulation of the different rooms and chambers in ISO booths in the famous Sunset Sound Studios in California, done by IK Multimedia, and they've done a great job on this thing. It's very unique. Prior to this plugin, which came out about maybe a year and a half ago, I think around 2019 is when it really came out. I got it when it first came out. The only plugin that did something similar was the Universal Audio Ocean Way Studio emulation plugin, which I have as well, and I love it. Once this came out, this is actually better than that plugin, in my opinion, for what I use it for. And the great thing about the IK Multimedia plugin, it's a native plugin, so you don't have to have any Universal Audio hardware to run it, and it's less expensive than the Ocean Way plugin as well, and it has more features. So the way I'm using this here and the way I want to show it to you today is whenever you have a mix that's kind of dry and you want to kind of give it some life, what a lot of people will do is they'll just start dropping reverbs on their snare track, on their drum room tracks, on their guitar tracks, and they'll have 4 or 5 different reverbs in their session. And what ends up happening is the buildup of all those reverbs and the different types of reverbs that they use all together makes the mix sound a little bit washy, a little bit hollow, doesn't sound very natural, very organic, and it sounds fake. And I hear mixes all the time from students where they use way too much reverb and they're trying to get a little bit of size and a little bit of width to their mix, but they're overusing reverb. And using a plugin like the Sunset Sound will help you. And so I'll leave a link in the description box below so you can pick this up at Sweetwater if you want to check out the Sunset Sound. And a full disclosure, that's an affiliate link. So if you buy Sunset Sound at Sweetwater or anything else at Sweetwater, I get a small commission, but you're helping support what I do here. And I thank you so much in advance for doing so. So I'm just check the link in the description box below. So let me show you how I have this kind of set up. So I have a basic track here that's kind of mixed here. We got a drum kit down here in brown, bass in blue, some guitars in green, some keyboards in purple. We're not using vocals in this particular track to keep the copyright gods away. I have all of our groupings of instruments going down to a busing system. I have a drum bus, a bass bus, an electric guitar bus, and a keyboard bus for this video example. And next to that, I've added an effects track here in blue, and I've added the IK Multimedia Sunset Sound to that. And what I have is my buses being sent using the sends to the Sunset Sound. And what I want to show you how to do is that when you're using something like this, and a way to make it sound so it's just giving it a little more size and width is to do it really subtly. So let's start off with drums here, and let me show you how I kind of set this up. So let me just take all the mutes and all the solos up, and if I just use the drums here, let me show you what the drums sound like. And I'll take down the Sunset Sound. Okay, so there we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a little bit of the Sunset Sound here. Okay, so I just picked one of their presets, Live Room Studio One, and you can see that they have chambers, they have live rooms, they have ISO booths, plates, and springs. Again, you can go check out my other video review I did when this first came out where we walked all through those things. But in this case, I like to use one of the live rooms. We have Studio One, Studio Two, Studio Three. Now I like to start with my drums. I like to get the space that I want my drums to sound the way I want them to sound in, and then I bring the rest of the band into that same space. And the trick is, or the tip is, instead of using multiple reverbs and multiple different kind of room effects on different groupings of instruments, if you put all of your instruments in the same room, like in Sunset Sound, it's going to give the mix kind of a feel like it was really recorded at a big room and all the musicians were playing in the same room together. And that's kind of what I want to do here. So I'm going to start off with my drums, and we can cycle through the different rooms here. There's Studio 2, Studio 3. Back to Studio 1. Kind of like Studio 1. So now I use my send level post fader here. And actually we want to do this, not post fader, I want to do this pre-fader. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the pre-fader on this. And I'm setting this to kind of a 0 dB send level. Okay. And this is when I want to dial in my drums. So it might be a little much. I'm going to take it away. That's before. Okay. There we go. Now I'm going to do the same thing with my bass. So as you see on my bass, I have being sent over to the same sunset sound. Okay. Now on the bass, what I'm doing is I'm controlling how much of the bass I want to go there via versus the drums via the send level. So if I put the send level at 0 dB on the bass, let me just mute the drums. That's before. Might be a little bit much. So I'm going to dial back the bass a little bit. So what I do is I do this in the context with the drums. Maybe take that back a few dB. That's before. After. Get the idea? Now we do the same thing with the electric guitars. Electric guitars on their own. And again, you can use the send level to adjust how much you really want. Again, there's no rules here. You just want to dial it into taste. It's before. Now let's do the same thing. Let's add our keyboards. So you can hear the mix get a little bit wider. It sounds a little bit bigger and it doesn't sound washy. It sounds more natural, like they were really playing in the room together as opposed to using reverbs. And again, you can dial the amount of each one of our buses by just using the send level. And then once we have that balance right, you can take the fader here on the Sunset soundtrack here in blue and you can just control the overall level. So the way I set how much you want, and again, it's completely subjective, it's up to you, but here's my kind of philosophy, if you will, for what it's worth on reverb and room sounds and things like this. It should be low enough to where you really have to kind of reach for it and hear it. That's like the perfect amount. If it is obvious that when I turn it on and off, that it's there, it's too much. If I turn it on and off and you can't hear it change at all, then it's not enough. And if I can just kind of reach for it, I can just kind of hear it, it's subtle, but I can manage to make it out, to me, that's enough. Again, that's a personal preference, okay? When you hear a lot of commercial music on the radio or on Spotify or iTunes or however you listen to your radio, and I don't care about the genre of music, most popular music on the radio, when you listen for reverbs and stuff, you really don't hear them. Reverb and room emulation in this particular case is supposed to be more felt than heard, in my opinion. Unless you have a very kind of a specific track where you really want it to sound washy, maybe something like a piano vocal ballad or something where you want that big spacious feel, then that's a little different, obviously. But in a track like this with a full band, you don't want it to sound like it's got a ton of reverb on it. You shouldn't even know the reverb is there. It's a more felt thing and heard thing. So that's kind of the guideline that I would share with you on how much of this stuff that you should add. More times than not, when I hear mixes coming from students, they add way too much reverb. And I'm always saying, dial back the reverb. I don't want to hear it. I want to feel it. And this is a great way to do it. Okay, it helps the track. It really gets a little bit wider, a little bit fatter, and it sounds natural and you wouldn't even know it's there. I love this plugin. This is a wonderful plugin by IK Multimedia. Like I said, prior to this, it was the Universal Audio Ocean Way, and this beats that plugin in my opinion. I use it all the time on almost every mix in a very subtle way like this. You can also go through and you can check out the different, you have some plates and spring reverbs and ISO boots for vocals and chambers, and you can mix and match and add several of these instances in your session if you'd like. But this particular tip is try to put all the bands in the same space in a very subtle way. It'll give your mix a little bit more oomph and a little bit more width and a little bit more depth. So that is the tip for this week. Go check out Sunset Sound. It's in the description box below. Now, you watched the entire video. I want to thank you again so much. As I said at the beginning, I want to give you something else for free. So again, go out to homerecordingmadeeasy.com if you have not done so already and get yourself your free mixing course. It's a $100 course I'm giving to you absolutely free, no strings attached. It's my gift to you just for checking out my courses. If you check out that course and you dig my style of teaching and you want to check out one of my other paid training courses, I want to give you a discount. The discount I want to give you is 25% off any course on the website, and all you have to do is use the coupon code YouTube25 at checkout. That will take 25% off any one of the training courses on my website. We have everything from recording to mixing to mastering to EQ compression and so on and so forth. Go check out homerecordingmadeeasy.com today. All the links that we talked about in this video will be in the description box below. Please like, share, and subscribe. And also let me know in the comments section, have you used the Sunset Sound plugin? What other kind of tips and tricks do you use to get yourself a little bit bigger of a sound without making it sound too washy? I'd love to know your tips and what stuff you have to offer. Help educate me. I'm here to learn from you as much as I'm here to help teach you. So leave some comments below. And until the next video, I've been Dave with homerecordingmadeeasy.com. I'll see you guys all soon. Take care, everybody.